Go ahead and call this meeting to order. It is 6:04 p.m. Welcome everyone. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You can be seated. So do you need a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Moving right into action items. Okay, so the first action item is attorney communication. We have the legal services agreement. Do we not have a signed copy of the legal services agreement?
That's the one that we have back from 2022 and 2023. We don't have a current legal agreement. It's kind of an as-is.
But this one isn't signed, that's what she's asking about.
Oh, that's the one I was able to locate.
So we don't have an attorney?
It's
We don't have a signed agreement.
We don't have a signed agreement.
Yeah. Good. We don't have to pay him, right?
Only if you call.
We really should have an archive of all contracts all in one place in one.
I am currently organizing the drive right now, and everything that I have signed that's in there is what I've got.
Moving forward, we'll make corrections.
Oh yeah.
She's already done it.
Everything
Awesome.
that's been under since I've taken over is organized and accounted for.
Excellent, thank you.
Is it organized under the clerk's login or your personal login?
Clerk's login.
Okay,
Yeah.
Good question.
So I know that this was asked to be added to just have some direction with respect to legal counsel. I know that there's been a lot of communication with legal counsel. We've had in the past the crux of concern, I guess, is that if the board were needing legal counsel, that would come from Lyons and O'Dowd. However, if Lyons and O'Dowd has weighed in on a district matter that has now involved the board, then there would have to be a recusal. And so that's where it gets a little, I guess, murky or muddy. So the board needs to decide what it would like to do with respect to legal counsel. If we're good understanding that, you know, if there's a conflict between district and board need, that legal counsel would have to recuse itself and we'd have to find new counsel, or if, and that's only if legal counsel's been involved on both sides of the fence, or whatnot.
Do we still have counsel through, I don't remember, did we keep iCrimp or did we get rid of iCrimp?
We don't have iTrend
Okay, we
anymore.
got rid of it, we go with the new guy. So what we had under with them, we no longer have that access with
We have some clarification, right?
Anderson, Julian Hull, and
Yeah, I know
all
we're
of them, or
we're still utilizing them.
oh, okay.
So, Jessica Grantham, Chief Finance Officer, we, with our relationship with Morton, which is who we purchase our insurance through, we still have access to Amy White. She's still
Okay.
the legal counsel for the state through that insurance that we have.
Okay, all right.
So do we utilize her for insurance-related matters only?
We use her as needed, dependent upon the situation. So if Brooke, would you like to, it's more of a, if it's an educational event or an employee personnel matter, we tend to go one way or the other.
Yeah, it just depends on how big of a nature it is. So as far as like last year, we had a big Title IX issue. Time was of the essence, and so we worked with Megan O'Dowd on that, and literally Megan O'Dowd needed information from me within minutes so we could correspond with the family right away. Amy White is sometimes a little bit more hard to get a hold of because she's used throughout the whole entire state. Amy would be the one that if we were to ever have a lawsuit regarding personnel or due process hearing, because liability insurance is involved, she would be the one that we would use.
Then, may I stop you there? Then why are we taking legal advice from O'Dowd on those kind of matters?
So, that is a good question. She does have knowledge in that area. If we don't think that we're going to go down that road, then and we need a quick answer, then we can go to her as well. She's been very helpful from
a finance perspective. I typically go to Lyons and O'Dowd for contracts and things like that if I need any sort of documentation there. If it's more of a statute related thing, I typically will reach out to Amy, not just because they're familiar with all of the policies and the statute. They follow that very closely, not that Lyons O'Dowd doesn't. It's just kind of a preference at that point.
And my personal preference for personnel matters is Amy White. I have indicated that to Superintendent Taylor because she has such a broad aspect of Idaho ed law. I mean, but she does come at a higher rate, and she's definitely hard to get. Where Megan is local, so that's the only difference.
And I'd like to speak on it just a little bit too. She does business with all the other surrounding districts, so she has a perspective of that.
Who does?
Megan O'Dowd. So, and
all other districts.
In the area, I mean, Post Falls. She deals with also Ponderay and also CDA. So that's one of the. And I do like the quick access to her, and I do like the fact that I think
I
Amy.
would like it too if I had confidence in her.
Yeah. Well, remember, and this is a great thing about it, is that if I don't have confidence in the opinion, that's where Amy White comes into play. Because Amy White costs us $456 an hour versus Megan O'Dowd, who costs us $200 an hour. So, there you go.
So how long has Megan O'Dowd been our attorney?
I can't speak on that. I just know that I've used her this year.
It's since Charlie Dodson passed away, and I can't recall what year that was. So I think it might have been, we might have hired them maybe 2 years after that, and we just used Anderson, Julian, and Hull in the meantime. But there was a delay in trying to get a hold of somebody. And when time is of the essence. So.
But Megan's been very responsive, and I like that.
So 2016, we've had the same lawyer, so, I mean, I think we should rotate lawyers every 2 years or something, so it doesn't, just like a vendor, you have to rotate vendors. And
Trustee Quimby, what was the most difficult thing for us to be able to find was somebody who had that diverse specialty in ed law specifically, the knowledge of ed law. There's not many attorneys in the state of Idaho that have that background knowledge.
Well, we went out for attorney services, and that's what this contract was, the 22-23 contract, was when we went out for bid on services.
Jess, would you like to try?
Sorry. We did go back to bid for attorney services in December of 2023, and we had no responses to that request for RFP or proposal. 0. So we can always put it back out there again. It's a quick process of advertising and receiving responses, but if no one responds.
So was that advertisement just local?
It was local and on our website. That's typically how we put things out. Local paper on the district website. Unless we're working with like an architect firm and it's a big concrete's on my brain, or construction project, then the architect firm usually puts it out a little bit broader because of the platforms that they have that we work with them on. But yes, we did put that out to bid last in December 2023.
But we could put it out for bid again on a broader scale, not just the local paper, correct?
Yes.
I think Bob was saying something and he got cut off. Did you have something else to add to it, Bob? I wanted to hear what you were thinking.
Well, you know, I truly favor going out. I do know that it's gonna be difficult, and we're probably gonna have to advertise broader than Kootenai County in order to make it happen.
Right.
But I don't have any confidence in the current legal counsel.
No, I
really don't.
agree. I agree with you.
And, you know, so I think we need to look at other options.
Yeah, I agree. There's been too many times where, yeah, we've just had discussion only to have to bring the law to show that this is actually what it says.
Well, it's pretty easy to sit in the ivory tower and send you opinions and directives and this, that sort of thing. I've been on the board almost 4 years. I've never seen this lady.
Nope.
I don't know what she looks like. I wouldn't know her if I met her on the street.
I've been on
Well,
Or
however long
a
you
little
do
bit
it.
longer
But-
than you have,
but-
and
but that,
I as
that
well.
should not be the case.
So.
That should not be the case. Right? If we're paying the kind of money we're paying for the services being rendered, we at least deserve to see her face to face occasionally. Because I don't think she understands what is going on in the real world of education.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy to dictate a letter that quotes Idaho code. Anybody can do that. But to understand the mores of this community and this school district and how things are impacted by her opinions, she needs to come out here and spend some time.
Yeah, I agree.
Otherwise, forget it.
Yeah, wholeheartedly. Yep.
I think she'd be willing to do that.
Well, I asked for it.
Okay.
And in response to that, you're asking for her presence. It was that she would appear by phone. I hear you, Bob. Okay.
And I apologize,
All right.
that was my mistake. It was a
Um,
clarification, sorry.
Well, and we should have our own attorney as a board, right?
We
Well,
do.
no, not
Separate?
necessarily.
Not separate?
Not necessarily. You know, if you have, first of all, this lady is no Charlie Dodson. Charlie Dodson served this district
Yeah.
commendably for years and years and years. And he would frequent board meetings. Anytime there was an issue that had any sort of consequence, he would be there to help us with it. And we're not getting that kind of service now, and that's what's frustrating to me.
Yeah, no, I'm with
But
you.
you can do fine with one legal counsel as long as they're serving you properly.
Right.
Right. Well, the attorney communication is an action item. I don't know if anyone would like to make a motion on that at this time.
Yeah, I'll make the motion based on what Bob was sharing. I make the motion that we go back out to legal service, to see what's out there. And, we go wider than our county, the entire state, and see what we got, you know, see what else is out there.
Sure.
And, you know, I agree with Bob. I don't think there's any harm in doing that.
I'll second the motion.
Right. We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Moving on to the facilities vehicle purchase. Oops.
Is there
Go
any,
ahead.
sorry,
No, you're fine.
is there any, with the prices on here, like warranty information?
All of these vehicles do come with a warranty.
I'm just saying comparing Ford with Dodge and
Yeah, they're all pretty comparable.
Chevy and all that.
Not unfortunately, facilities director Tim Haig was with our freshman football team tonight traveling, so
Right.
he's a coach, so he wasn't able to attend tonight, but from our conversations regarding these quotes that he received, they're all very similar in what they have to offer. For the most part, they're right in that $52,000 to $54,000 range. Wendell's kind of a outlier with how much they're asking on that one. So he didn't necessarily have a preference. He would just like something that is in stock that we are able to purchase. He doesn't have a preference on the vehicle type because they're all roughly the same price, and can do the same thing.
I have a preference on saving money.
I do too.
Well said.
Yeah. So, because these are coming in a little bit less than what we had initially thought, and they were initially looking at maybe doing a couple flatbed pickup purchases, they're realizing that that won't get as much use from them as they initially thought they would. So they're going with regular 1-ton trucks at this point, and then hoping to equip them with snowplow to help mitigate some of the snow plowing. Obviously we can't full scale take that on at this point, but we can at least help out and reduce that cost.
Question relative to the snow plows. I mean, we've got a yard full of snow plows, or we did, unless they're gone recently.
They're still there.
They're still there.
So why would we pay $16,000 for?
And
a
that
snow
is
plow?
the board's purview to choose to approve or deny that expenditure.
But no, the question is, can't this existing snow plows be adapted to the new vehicle?
They should be able to, yes.
Yeah.
So is it, for clarification, the $150,000 that was previously approved by this board for fleet purchase, would it just be the $56,000 coming out of that 150,
Yes.
or so where are these $12,000 for snowplows? Where's that coming from?
It would come out of that 150 as well
The
if that was
difference.
approved.
Okay,
'Cause there is
that's
a
what I was
difference
trying to
there.
get
Yeah.
at.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
okay.
We're trying to stay under the budget that was approved.
So that would leave us with $14,000.
Right. Or we could choose to see if we're able to fit the existing plows on the new vehicles.
Well, I know that
Yeah.
this board has asked repeatedly about those plows and doing something with
Yeah.
them, so I don't know why we wouldn't try that route first.
Totally understand.
So I know I asked a while ago, and it didn't happen. We've asked that quotes and bids be included in the agenda item.
Yes.
So-
So for this one, because of the dollar amount and the fact that we weren't moving forward with purchasing at that time, Tim was able to just get verbal quotes on all of these. And so that's why I do not have any additional documentation to attach.
Okay.
Given the fact that we had permission in the budget line item, but not permission to purchase,
Has to.
based on the policy, the way that the policy reads, that's why we're not bringing those quotes to you tonight as well.
So
It's just hard when we don't have a
Completely
written
understand. Yep.
quote or bid,
Yep.
that,
Yep.
how do we
so these
ensure they're gonna honor
These
that?
are not firm bids then?
They are firm for 30-ish days, but they're all in email, but there's not a specific spec sheet with it. What I can tell you is most of the vehicles are like a F-150, F-250, for the, give me 1 second. He gave me the models. So for the Dave Smith, they're all 3500 Chevy or Dodge 3500s. Mike White Ford, the 1-tons at F350. Wendell, that one that's kind of the outlier, that's at 74,000. That was a F350 flatbed. So there's a significant price increase on the flatbed. Knutson, it was a Chevy 2500 HD for the 3/4 ton. And then Liberty Lake was a Dodge 3500. That drive Liberty Lake, sorry.
So obviously the low bid is Dave Smith's 52,000 for the Dodge.
Yep.
And those are 1-ton.
Those are 1-tons, yes.
That they have in stock,
Mm-hmm.
so you could get them right away.
Which would be ideal.
Your recommendation is for us to now approve 56,000 not to exceed, when, I mean, we have a 52,000 here listed.
That was just in case we had a slight fluctuation in price from the time that we received those quotes to the time that we make the final purchase. The district is fortunate that we don't.
When did your 30 days run out?
It should be potentially end of this week for a couple of them, beginning of next week for some of them. It's just the timeline.
So if we approve tonight, you can order tomorrow?
I will have Tim do that first. He will be very happy to do that first thing in the morning.
So this amount, this dollar amount that's in here, does that include taxes, licensing, document fees, everything the
The
dealer?
district doesn't pay taxes.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
everything that's
Yeah.
included.
Yes, so it does include that, which is
Okay.
why I left a little bit of wiggle room in there at the 56,000 to ensure that we were covering those fees.
Yeah.
We don't pay Idaho sales
We
tax,
don't
but we
pay.
would pay Washington sales tax. So actually,
We're-
this Liberty Lake one would
Right.
have been more, and it would have
Yeah.
included taxes.
Right, so, yes, Tim did tell me we were tax exempt, sometimes they will honor it for us if we're just across the border with the ST 101, they're not required to, but some places do. So,
And why 1 tons, out of curiosity?
that would be a great question that I should have
Well,
asked
you
him.
All
know,
stuff.
I can understand
We've got-
that, if,
yeah.
yeah, particularly if you're gonna be
Plowing.
plowing snow with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Size.
Hauling
Better
trailers.
chassis.
Trailers, yeah.
We had heavier suspension,
Right, just
you
because
know,
of the
heavier
snowplow?
rear ends and that
Yeah.
kind of
And
thing.
if they have to haul anything too.
We have some big trailers that we haul, we have some equipment, like we have our own scissor lift and stuff like that, that we have to haul, and those are heavy.
And sometimes if we have to rent equipment,
Mhm.
you have to have at least a 3/4 ton to haul rental
And
equipment
we do
if it's the
haul
bigger,
rental
so.
equipment.
I mean, you would have to be pretty big if it's a 3/4 ton diesel, you know, and it's got Allison transmission in it, or so, I mean, you'd have to really be hauling a beast in order to outdo it. I was just curious, I mean, it's still the least expensive. So are these gasoline or diesel engines?
Or gas.
Yeah, guarantee it.
It'd be double that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
double
they would be a
that.
lot more than
Well, I
that
didn't know if they
diesel.
were used, you know, they had like a used one on the lot, I didn't know. So these are brand new then?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
From a depreciation standpoint, it makes sense for us to purchase.
52,000 is a pretty good price for brand
Yeah,
new.
for 1 ton, yeah.
Yeah, it didn't say, or I didn't see it on there. They were new, okay.
I'll move to approve the purchase of 2 1-ton pickups from Dave Smith
At 52,000.
at 52,000 each.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We'll leave the snowplow.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, let's
Yeah, we'll hold off on
look
the
into
snowplows.
the snowplows before we.
We'll bring that back
If
in the
it
meeting
snows,
too.
I'm gonna be upset, guys.
Okay, let's move on to the K-Tech HVAC.
I don't think that we would have them before winter anyway.
Agreed.
They should.
You're gonna have to help us with this one.
I know.
I am highly disappointed that this was not brought to the board back in June when it was voted on at the K-Tech governing board meeting.
Right.
Unfortunately, I don't attend those meetings.
I understand that. I just was putting that out there that.
So, back in February, we brought an Avista easement to the board for consideration. That consideration was to allow the easement, an easement for a gas line to be run along the property line. That way they didn't have to go through their existing parking lot to put the line in. At that time, we talked about the need for that, for them to be able to install a new HVAC system to replace their non-functioning geothermal system. At the June 18th K-Tech meeting, a motion was approved to move forward with the HVAC repair and the ditch installation, and they voted to split the costs evenly amongst the districts. The cost for Lakeland Joint School District for that was $72,761.34.
You don't have any background information on why K-Tech took that project on without having the financing?
I believe at previous board meetings, there was discussion that this, the 3 schools involved did seek clarification from the state that the school modernization funds would be allowed to be used for K-Tech purposes. So each district could use that pot of money that we received from the state. We have all of ours budgeted to specific projects in our district, which is why my recommendation is that we pull it from the interest, so we're not impacting any of the approved projects that we currently have in place for Fund 436, in order to take care of this commitment that was made.
You said that this be split equally amongst the district, but that's not in the motion. Is that what's happening? Because we don't see the whole. It states Lisa Arnold makes a motion to approve the HVAC repair and ditch install with the cost being split 3 ways.
So there's
The
only 3
assumption
districts.
is
Yeah,
the
so
ass-
it's Post Falls, Coeur d'Alene, and us. I'm so sorry for interrupting.
The assumption is that it is 3 equally, even though we are not allocated equally when it comes
Right.
to the cost that goes to K-Tech.
Yeah. So this is a deviation from our typical agreement.
The proportions
The
are
proportion
different.
it's not what we have outlined in our agreement with K-Tech. I think we're 27% is our typical share, but
Close, 26.5.
20, yeah.
Yeah.
So, we, again, I wasn't a part of that meeting, so
No, I
I'm not privy to
understand
the
that.
discussion behind it. But I believe because all of the schools had a conversation about using that school modernization fund to do it, that I'm making assumptions. I wasn't there, so.
Well, I have a little
Well-
bit of insight too, if I may. I'm sorry. Jake and I went to K-Tech visit Bill White, right? Is that correct? Bill White met with us. It was a failing system from the beginning. It was the system itself, the geothermal systems. I guess there was the warning lights kept coming on, and it kept failing. There was a lawsuit. It was settled, and then they came up with, they added more pipes. Is that what they did, Jake, if I remember correctly?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, and then from there they added more pipes, and come to find out it still wasn't working. So with that said, it was, they met and they got, because it wasn't working, they got additional quotes for the new system, and obviously they're pulling away from the geo system. And yeah, they met in a meeting, and Lisa and them agreed that we were going to split it 3 ways, because our kids go to school there and their kids go to school there, and they being CDA and obviously Post Falls, and that was why the agreement exists. I did speak to Sean, CDA's superintendent, and also Nina, who was Adina, I should say, who was very demanding in the sense that we have a responsibility, and I quote her, to split the bill 3 ways because it's servicing all 3 of our school districts. So
Except we provided the easement for them to get the gas line.
Right.
Yeah,
Get no
agreed.
credit for that.
What'd you
Yeah.
say? I didn't get any clarification on that. They showed me the units. You had to see all the piping in this thing. Oh my God, it was very complex, and yeah. So anyway, they were actually putting in the new units when I was there. So.
If we rescind the easement, then we save the money?
There's already piping there, so I'm assuming no.
And in the future, and I'd like to work with the board on, if we do have situations of this, how to best support.
Well, I would say this. I think truth be known, we actually probably send more kids through K-Tech than the other school districts do.
Yep.
We do. We take up more than our allotted.
We do.
Proximity
Seats.
helps.
Thank
with
you for that comment. That is correct. So we're getting a sweet deal in the first place. So.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
I don't think I'd go that far
Excuse me.
at all.
We're getting a nice deal. Is that better?
I would take it that far because a lot of our kids benefit from
Oh, yeah.
K-Tech. So
It is an amazing
I'll
place.
take it that far.
It was. Jake and I really enjoyed the visit and just to see the programs, and then how much they've had to utilize space because they just continue to grow and grow and grow.
Such a unique opportunity.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like it in Arizona. We have any access. It's a wonderful opportunity for our kiddos.
Well, my heart has been with K-Tech for years and years and years, going back to Riverbend. But what we're facing is a management issue. And so you as a member of that board, I would suggest you take a close look at how things are being managed so that we don't run into this kind of problem.
Sir.
Well, and I would ask that if there is a vote that's made, that you're,
Can I give you a heads up?
that you're
Yeah.
They need-
approving the expenditure of district dollars, that the board and the CFO be
Yeah.
brought up to speed on it.
Absolutely. Jess and I communicate all the time, and obviously I speak finance, and the worst thing I hated was someone come up to me and say I had a bill that needs to be paid and we didn't have budget for it. So.
I will move to approve the use of school modernization fund interest dollars to pay for our portion of the.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Moving on to the extracurricular field trip. The journalism club. Wants to go to Tennessee.
Yeah, it sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Super fun.
But it's not just journalism, it's journalism and yearbook.
Yearbook, yeah.
Yeah.
Usually
And
those kids are the same kids, they're very similar.
they are no expense to the district for this.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Moving on to FFA.
Another fun one.
I just had one question. This request brought up. How is it being determined who and when and how, who gets to use the minibuses and when, and like who's are the schools just deciding that on their own, or?
Really good
Jessica
question.
Griffin, Chief Finance Officer. On behalf of Transportation Department, the protocol that we put into place is that they are technically a transportation fleet vehicle. If the teams would like to use them when they're submitting their request for travel, they put in there that that's what they would like to use, and then we schedule them that way. If we're trying to get buses together for a trip and they don't indicate which way they would like to go, if we don't have another option, we ask them to take that route. So it's kind of a give and take. We work with them. If they want to take it, they take it. If we need them to take it, they take it. But for the most part, the insurance standpoint on it is the safest mode of travel. And in the insurance mind, the safest mode of travel is having a dedicated bus driver on our big passenger buses. But all of the drivers that are driving those activity buses, they're multifunction school activity buses, so they do have that safety designation. But they're all taking that same training. They're all required to have DOT physicals and that. So short answer to your question, when they want to take them, they're allowed to take them, but they are considered a fleet vehicle for transportation and are scheduled as such.
I would just say I really do appreciate the way these requests have been presented with the information about who, when, how, where, and who's chaperone, and how many kids, and where they're staying, and the whole ball of wax. That really is very helpful. The added agenda for the conference is interesting. I'm curious about this cows up close and personal.
I can't speak on it. I have been to FFA National Conference once. That was interesting. I didn't sleep for 2 days, because they run you all over the place.
They are busy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're very
they're
busy,
great
yep.
programs.
Love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Moving on to policy committee. The superintendent has made recommendations for changing the way policy committee is currently done. Would you like to speak on this?
Yeah, I think I've written it out pretty detailed in that sense, but basically, a lot of it is I'm looking for more collective feedback in that sense. So I want to allow, the idea is, and I have a flow chart that Mr. Massey helped me create, but the idea behind it is that the process would start with a still submission to our clerk. From there, she would share that information with me, and it's really great. So she collects a lot of the other policies around and our policy, and we take a look at it and we try to, either not change or change things that would mirror those policies that we feel like would be beneficial to our district. And the best part about it, because I am new to the area, it allows me to kind of start digging into policies all around our area, also looking into Idaho code, law, and obviously our administer code. So those are all really useful, and it basically educates me From there, we'd share the recommendation out with people. Well, usually there's the admin team, the district admin team. I would first share it out, and especially if it's specific to like finance. Obviously, Jess would get a look. Human resource, Brooke, Jake would get a look just because he's the assistant soup. If it is an issue that's school related, example, and this, please, I'm not recommending we go there yet. If it's dress code, we would share it out with principals to get their feedback. And again, we're just getting a collective feedback from as many people that we feel like it's applicable to get the best best policy. With that said, then I would take that information, submit it back to our clerk with an admin recommendation, and then from there, the committee would review that and still can make changes, still can get feedback and all that stuff, but it just makes us a little bit more inclusive in that. And one of the other things too, I do want to be a part of the committee, but one of my goals this year is I truly want to be out and about, as I was out yesterday. I went and watched volleyball. I've got football coming up. Not just those events. I want to be out soccer, library, whatever thing they got going on. I just want to be out. I think it's an overall goal of mine, but I think it's an expectation of the board. Also, I said a deeper understanding of policy. And then the policy committee's role is still the same. It's to collect feedback, make it a better policy, submit it back to me just to see what kind of changes. It's not that I'm looking for approval, but and then I would just give it back to Sarah and say, yeah, it's all good. Just so I can see the overall finished product is the idea behind it. And then from there we submit it to the board, and the board makes a decision if they want to adopt it or not.
So I guess my only question in reading this, well, a couple of things.
Okay.
We still, I think we just recently came out of the summer schedule where it was early in the morning, so everybody hasn't been able to come back.
Right.
And why did we abandon what we worked on for 6 years to get in place has been thrown out? Why did that happen?
It hasn't.
Yeah, it has. I went to one policy committee. It absolutely has. The policies weren't right. The agenda wasn't right.
Okay.
I told this to the clerk and I said, don't you have access to the prior assistant superintendent's drive? She said, no. I said, you should probably get it because everything we worked on is in that drive.
Okay.
When I look at this and then your comment in there about as it is now that only the loudest voice in the room drives changes, that is not true.
No,
Everything that the policy committee has done in the past was driven by finance, teachers, the community, or maybe something came directly from the board, or this to me is pushing, and this seems to be happening. The board is the last. This is like one of the only things the board is responsible for, and to totally take the board out and give all the power to you to make the decision of what the board sees or not sees, I think is ridiculous. I just don't agree.
And I appreciate your comment, I really do, but I am not trying to push anything out. I will tell you that if there is more information that Sierra and I need to review and to align to the practices of the past, I'm not trying to change those things. All I'm trying to do is make me more engaging, more active. I'm not trying to dismiss the committee. I'm not trying to do any of that. In fact, I think I value the committee and obviously the work that Ms. Thompson has done on the committee, and I want her to continue that work. She gets eyes on it too at the end, and so we're all in agreement. It just gives everyone a little bit more perspective, and we're just trying to create a better product.
But that was already in the way it was done. That's what I'm saying is we just came out of summer.
Yeah.
So when it goes back to evenings when everybody can make it after work, we had certain groups always that showed up depending on what the policy was.
Right.
And it always went out for review. We always got
Which we're still gonna do.
Yeah, we always got feedback.
Right.
And it wasn't it was more of a collaborative effort. I do not see this as collaborative, and I think it's fine the way it is now. I think what has happened is maybe the clerk, because she's new, and the superintendent, he's new, maybe nobody explained to you and showed you all the documentation that was already set up with the way that it worked. And I think that's probably what happened.
And that's fair, and that's right, we are new, but I also, my job is to try to find ways to make things better. And I'm not saying we have to stick with this, I'm just saying let's give it a shot. And per policy 1410, I put it in there, my job is to seek input as your superintendent, and try to get the most qualified feedback as we possibly can. And when I said the louder, that's just a perception, please know that, the loudest person in the room, and I just don't want it to be that way. I want it to see people have an opportunity to comment on policy, even though it's, I just don't want to lock it into 5:30 at night. We've averaged about 1 to 2 people per night, and I will be honest with you, the policy that we're reviewing is not gripping. It's just not, so I can understand that. But again, if I'm able to share it out, get some information, I think it makes the process a
Well,
little
we
bit more
can still
inclusive.
do that, and it used to be 6 o'clock at night, because some people, they can't make it by 5:30. Because of work or where they have to drive or whatever, because we did have a lot during the school year. During the summer, it winds down, hardly anybody shows up, but during the school year, there was always people there.
Right.
Whatever the policy was pertaining to. And I do think it was balanced, and I just don't see the need to change it. I think what we need to do is, we barely come out of summer, get it back on track, now that, put the notice back out, make sure everything's going back out to everybody, so that they can, weigh in and get back on
I don't see how that would
schedule.
inhibit it. We're not getting rid of it. We're not at all. In fact, we're trying to be more inclusive. We're trying to share it out with administrators. We're saying, look.
How are
That
we
was
sharing it
all-
out with the parents?
Yeah.
That's the way we're sharing it out is through our committee. That's why the committee is so important, is that they can come and voice their opinions on the policies. And we're also sharing it out through, like the practice you've been doing, which is posting it out for comment. We are sharing it out to the community, so that's why the committee is so important to keep, so we can get that.
Well, there's a
feedback.
list of everybody that used to get email, and it wasn't just through the regular channels of email and communication in the
Yeah.
district, where people signed up via the website, and somewhere there's a list.
Yeah.
And then all those, and it was, I know there was at least 750, because that's how many,
Yeah.
comments we got on one policy. So there's a huge list somewhere of all
Just
these
so.
people that showed up,
Yeah.
and they obviously haven't been getting, because we have to, like you're saying, we have to share outside of just the students and their
And I agree.
parents and all that.
And again, we can still do
Yeah.
all that. I'm saying, look, it's just adding another layer to it. We're still gonna maintain all these other things, but it's just adding another layer. That's all I'm asking.
Well, let me comment on it if I might.
Yeah.
I fully understand, and there have been instances in the past where we've gotten to a policy for review by the board, and I have specifically asked, have all the administrators had an opportunity to see this? Sometimes they have, sometimes they haven't, but I think that's an important step, so I respect your effort to try to make that happen, whether it be, the financial team or building administrators or whoever the appropriate group might be.
Yeah.
Having that input, not necessarily just at the beginning, but after the policy has actually been revised.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Because the people who have to implement policy
Correct.
are really, under the gun if they end up with a policy that's difficult or impossible to administer.
Right.
So whatever steps we can take in order to try to resolve that issue, I would favor that.
Absolutely.
But that's already happening, that's what I'm saying. That
Well,
was.
it hasn't always happened.
Well, that was part of,
It was happening.
the person that was in charge before, maybe she missed one or whatever, but if the actual steps are followed, that everybody created together, that was happening. If it was a dress code thing, that literally was driven by the principals, that's how it came to the committee.
Right.
If it was, the food stuff that we had, he brought that, Chartwell's actually brought that information. So I'm sorry that you haven't seen that happen, or that hasn't been the way it's been happening, but somewhere we're missing all that documentation, which was in the assistant superintendent's drive, with everything set up in there, so
We'll get that.
I don't know
Well,
how
and
to
it-
get that
Maybe
back.
Jay can find it, or
Jay, can you find that for us?
It
You
was,
can find anything.
Well,
Yeah.
one of the other conversations too is, when it comes to, the school, obviously, ASBO, it's ASBO, it's, Idaho, State Board of,
School board.
School Board.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that I asked personally, because where I came from, we were getting, we're getting those updates on a regular basis. And again, I'm trying to be a better superintendent for you and this is one of the steps to do that. And I'm not saying that we have to, I'm saying we're not getting rid of anything. We're
But to
adding
be better,
steps.
you're insinuating it wasn't good enough, or
No,
it wasn't working.
I'm not
Then
saying
we
that at
need
all.
to
I'm saying, look,
fix it.
I'm new to the area, and I'm trying to understand the policy, and this makes me more involved. More importantly, as Mr. Jones pointed out, if some administrator cannot make it, at least they can have the opportunity to comment on it, and we would share that information with the committee. Again, I am not
Yeah,
trying
that
to
was in
undermine
the,
that.
yeah, that's already was in the flow, like I say from before, I don't know.
I'm not sure how it got to them. Can I ask?
It was, well, she shared it out via email. It was sent to all of them, and everything was sent via email. And then there was, the link for the feedback for comments was through a Google form.
Yeah, we're gonna maintain that.
Yeah,
But
and
again, that's
then-
from what I understand. Actually, we built the website
We did.
for feedback for our people on that.
Right, so it's, the policies, is my understanding, are now going to the website, and that people are supposed to be going to the website to make comments. It's not being emailed out to people,
It is.
which,
It is.
It still is.
Oh,
who's it being
I haven't
emailed to? 'Cause I
gotten
haven't gotten
Every
any.
single district member gets an email every Friday.
Right, but what about all of the other people though, like who had signed up before, or the
The
parents? or-
only email that I have is from a retired teacher. But everybody else gets them.
Yeah, so we need to find out where all those other contacts were and make sure, cause the board has it, I haven't gotten one.
Yeah, me either.
So-
It should go to it goes to your Lakeland email.
Oh, I haven't gotten one, but I've had problems with my email too, because my calendar was messed up the other day also, but yeah, I have not gotten one. Anyways, there is a list,
I'm not
there's
getting
a,
a
I'm not
policy
getting it.
email every Friday.
I have nothing either.
We'll review on that one, but I'm just trying to tell you, look, we're just trying to make, it's nice that I can specifically say, hey, team, administrative team, can you please take a look at this, because sometimes when all the policies come through, sometimes they can be an oversight. Again, I'm not trying to get rid of policy committee. I fully support it. I fully support what it's doing. I'm just trying to be more active and get a more inclusive policy that has the experts reviewing that and then giving recommendations to our committee and still allowing the committee to do what they need to do. I'm not trying to
well, we're already
inhibit
doing that. I think the problem is that somewhere the instructional part or everything that was laid out wasn't passed to you or to
That's
Sierra,
fair.
you know.
But also I'm asking you to do is can we, I would like to try it and see what
I do have a kind of a logistical question. Everything you outlined in the flow chart has to do with review of existing policy.
Yes, sir.
If I, as a board member, wanted to introduce a new policy, how would that happen?
Starts with her.
Same process?
Same process.
Same procedure?
Yep.
Well, that's, maybe you want to keep it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the recommendation. Again, there's no harm in giving it a try. That's just all I'm trying to tell you. And if we get a better product, great. And if we don't, we'll make the adjustment.
So you're requesting to change what has been done without fully understanding how things were done, because you wanna make something better, but you don't know that what was going on before was bad.
I've had counsel through our staff what was going on. I'm pretty aware of what was going on. And then I've come in and been a part of those committee meetings. I have a pretty good
Okay.
idea. And again, I'm not trying to offend anybody, guys. I'm trying to say, look, let's try to make it more inclusive.
How about we just leave it the way it is and add on as we go if it's working before?
I think that's what he's suggesting.
I'm saying
Yeah.
yes.
I mean-
I'm not changing anything on the committee. I'm not changing, I'm saying, look, this is just making you aware, this is how I'd like, you know, my involvement in policy, that's it. The policy committee stands as is. I'm not asking to change anything in it.
Well, your processes are changing how things were done, correct?
I know, I'm not even, with
Well,
budget stuff.
your flow chart shows a little
Right.
different, and
Right.
then your collaborative time, deeper dive, policy committee role, and then policy 1410. That flow,
Right.
is different.
It is a little different in
Okay.
the sense it gives the board, or gives the committee, I should say, at least something to look at. And Chairman Thompson, I love how you did it. Not this last one because I wasn't at it, I was stuck in Arizona, but the one before, you put the admin's recommendation on one, you put the policy in another, and you took the information that you felt was most pertinent. And from what I understand, and from Mr. Massey at this most recent, you actually took quite a bit from our recommendation from the admin and the administrative policy. I'm not saying, hey, look, we have to accept the admin. I'm saying, here's another piece of pie that you can pull from that makes it more inclusive. That's it.
Right, and we're, with the last two meetings, where the part of the challenge becomes is we have an existing document that we've had historically that we've processed through where we make the changes on the new drafted document.
Right.
So then when a whole new policy is made and then having to compare the two side by side to figure out what is it that's really changing what, I mean, my request a couple of weeks ago was please use the drafted document and then put your modifications on there so that we can see, so that we're not having to scroll side by side to try and figure out what's transpiring.
Okay.
And
I think we could do that.
okay.
Would that help?
That's how it's supposed to be done, that's what I'm saying, is everything we've gotten, even the policies, I'm sorry, that are attached to the agenda, you can't make heads or tails of it. It's supposed to be the policy off the website, the changes to the existing policy and the proposed policy. We don't get that. So I had to try and figure out on the one policy what was even going on. I finally just gave up because it didn't come off the website. I don't know where it came from. Why are we changing? There was nothing.
What policy would you please clarify?
Yeah, we're not there yet, but I don't remember which one it was. It was, I think it was 8320, maybe? I don't know, I read through all of them.
Once you get the number, just let us know, and
Yeah.
we'll get some clarification. Again, I'm just trying to tell you, I'm not trying to change the committee, I'm just trying to tell you, look, I'm trying to be more involved, I'm trying to inform the board, this is how I would like to be
Yeah,
involved.
and that's fine, but I think we should also have the ability to instruct you on how it was being done, and then if something needs to be tweaked, we can tweak it. But we're not even getting that. You came in
Yeah.
when it barely started,
Yep.
and then we got told, and nothing on policy is what we've been using all these years. And then all of a sudden, we're told it doesn't work right, it could be better, and let's do this, which, yeah, we can always tweak and make better, but why don't we look at how we've been doing it to see what's broken and fix that?
I guarantee you that I've reviewed, and I'm not saying this is broken, I'm saying, look, it just makes it more.
But how can you have reviewed though when the clerk has nothing of what we used? What did you review?
I've talked to administrators, I've participated in the committee, so I've tried to gather information. Again, I'm not changing anything on the committee. I'm saying, please allow me the opportunity to come up with a recommendation. Chairman Thompson said, hey, look, can you put those changes on the same document so I can see it, and I'll try to do my best to accommodate her, to make it more applicable and easier to read.
Well, that came from the whole board, that's why she asked for it,
Yeah.
because the board wants to see, what did we have, what
Yeah.
got changed,
And
what
that's
does it
fair.
look like,
That's good.
you know?
And I'll work with Chairman Thompson to make it easier for her and the committee. I just want to make sure that we get a recommendation in there for admin, that's all.
We never had a policy where we didn't get their recommendation, none that I remember, ever. In fact, if anything, that's usually where it was driven from, was the change was coming from somebody in the district.
I guess it's just another way to include, and if they want to come back to policy and add further information or share more information, they can do that. Again, that's not changing.
I have no further input.
Do we need to have any further conversation on policy committee?
I'm good.
I didn't have anything.
Thank you for listening, I appreciate it.
entertain a motion if there's one to be made.
Move that we table this for a few months.
Time certain, yeah, time certain.
Just, yeah, give the new superintendent and the new clerk time to get better acclimated with the process before we make changes to.
That's fair.
Alright,
I second that.
so we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Moving on to policy 4000, community relations. This came for first read last meeting, and we had 2 minor changes, grammatical or clerical, to the policy. Any questions or conversations? No.
So are we gonna stick with this formatting, or are we gonna put it,
This is the formatting that we've used for all of the recent policies.
I have no further input.
And just for clarification, Sierra, you did modify the formatting just to make it more appealing, correct? Because you added the language down at the bottom, identifying that the policies are owned by the district,
Yep.
and just moving.
And
So
it's
the formatting did change
This is,
for an improvement.
yes, this is just to unify all of our policies, so all of our policies look the same. They all have the same formatting.
So did you go through every single policy and make
I'm in
these
the
changes?
process.
Okay. Okay, I'll move to approve policy 4000, community relations goals as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Moving on to the Kootenai Tribe donation. This is our annual donation from the tribe.
Move to approve the superintendent's recommendation to move the $2,000 to the Lakeland Education Foundation.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries.
I do have one quick thing on this. It doesn't affect the voting at all. I'm just asking that we've asked all of our booster clubs and PTOs to provide financials, how they're spending money, how they're, donating to the schools, how they're supporting kids. If we're sending on money that's been given to us to the LEF, I would like to see theirs and how they're spending
I don't
it.
disagree with that, but we have a board representative on the LEF board, and so I would assume that person would bring us that information.
So are you?
No.
No, it's
Oh,
me.
okay. It's you?
Yeah, but I haven't read yet.
You haven't gone yet.
I think it's this month, right? I gotta look at my calendar.
Okay,
Yeah.
so are you
Negotiating,
asking
provide
for
information.
financials from the Kootenai
Sorry,
tribe?
Mom.
No. left.
Okay.
Yeah.
The only thing
But
I.
that's why we have a representative on the.
Yeah, we are supposed to be provided with their financials.
Okay.
But we've not been, so, we should.
When do they meet, quarterly?
So I'm requesting that.
If that,
Quarterly?
yeah.
So,
Also when they
At the
do
bar.
the board is directing that we
main
get the
fund
financials from LEF reported to it. And then,
And then that could just be
also-
done annually at the same time that we request that of our booster clubs and
Right.
PTOs and.
I'll take care of it.
Perfect. And then the other thing is could we please remember to send a thank you card,
To the
sooner rather than later to the tribe, thanking them for their contribution, their donation.
Give a card, if you can make a card. I can sign it and say thank you. We'll get it out tomorrow.
Great. Moving into discussion, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 policies that are coming forward. I don't believe the policy committee actually made it through policy 1100 because there was language within the last paragraph that was challenged within the statute. We were supposed to come back to that, and I don't believe we ever did.
That challenge actually just came recently.
I'm sorry?
That challenge just came recently.
Yeah, it was actually posted after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
What challenge?
To the changes made to the last part. The 1100.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That came recently.
You want to speak
It,
about this?
so I didn't challenge it. What I did is I reviewed it.
Okay.
I was just in board book. I was reviewing it, and I saw in 1100 that there was language struck out that was verbatim in statute, and
Okay.
so I just questioned why that was when
Okay.
all that language was in statute.
And that came after.
Are you talking about the last paragraph?
I'm talking about, it says, it's this sentence, whether elected, re-elected, or appointed, and then to have been taken, all of this is all in statute, and so this all the language in there struck out is language in statute existing right now,
Okay,
so.
but what my comment wasn't anything about any challenge. I didn't know that
No,
you
it wasn't
had
a
done that.
challenge, it
It
was,
was just
I pointed it out.
Not a right
I was just
word.
curious.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. What I was saying is that I don't think we ever finished this policy.
Gotcha.
So I think that one needs to go back to the committee for review to make sure that it was completed. Because I recall we were kind of confused and we didn't get all the way through it, and then it got tabled, and I don't believe we ever came back to 1100.
Is this first reading on all these policies?
Yes.
I got a question about open enrollment. Can people from out of state come here?
So, in
Cause I see a lot of
I'm
Washington
only
plates.
answering this because just of an experience that we went through last year. So if you have people that are from out of state that are coming in, they actually have to pay. It's a huge hefty
Right.
tuition, and that tuition actually goes to the State Department of Education.
Right.
And so we had two students that were flagged in the system, but no, they were not here. And so they did not, or they weren't from out of state, so they didn't have to pay. Where the Washington license plates are coming from, I have no idea.
I just see a lot of them in the parking
Yeah.
lot.
Can I say something? I deal with a lot of the proof of residency for the district, and a lot of times people do not change their vehicle registrations for up to 6 months.
Yeah.
But they do prove to us
Or when the license
via
is due again.
Well,
their
that's-
mortgage
yeah.
statement and utility bills that they actually have residency here. So that's why we're seeing some of that.
I would like to point out that policy 2240 for class size, the 3010 open enrollment, the 3010P open enrollment, the only changes to these policies were specific to the number of students. We as a board voted last year. I believe it was last year.
July of 2024.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And we made changes, however, that did not trickle down to the policy. And so Assistant Superintendent Massey brought it to the forefront saying, hey, let's get on board and make these changes. So we did, and it was specific to the class size, not the policy in its entirety.
Wow.
And then community wellness 8200 was brought forward by Jessica
Wait,
Graham.
I'm-
Sorry, go ahead.
Where were they changed that, because you said they were changed, but they didn't trickle down to the,
It was brought to us by the prior superintendent and assistant superintendent that we needed to change our classroom size and numbers. And so we voted, or we made a motion and approved their recommendation for the changes. However, because our policies were specific to numbers, when we approved the changes, that never made it over to the policy. So this year, when enrollment happened, there was some confusion with, well, what are we doing? Because we've got it here, but yet it was approved here, and so we cleaned it up. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Jake Massey, Assistant Superintendent.
Okay.
What I believe happened is that last year, July 2024, Superintendent Arnold brought forth the concern that the only ability for us to increase our revenue through ADA is to start to accept more kids. And so she had a board agenda item request with new numbers that was approved, and the administrators operated off of just that document for a little bit more than a year. And so whenever Mr. Taylor and I sat down with our principals this year to review open enrollment applications and look at numbers and adjust staffing accordingly, we found that we were looking at least 2 different numbers that were conflicting within either what was approved by the board or what was already in policy. And so this is just an effort, again, to reiterate what Chair Thompson has stated, to get everything in alignment.
Policy 8200, the local school
Thank you, Jake.
wellness.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jake. That is being brought forward by Jessica Grantham. She took care of that policy because it is a financial one and in her wheelhouse. And I will say to my knowledge, policy 8320, 8330, 8330P have been reviewed by our crisis prevention team to make sure that they are appropriate and sufficient for the information we're trying to convey. And then the retention of district records, Sierra did revise the layout and format because what we had before was quite winky, and she made it a lot more appealing to the eye.
Well, there appears to be a lot of change to that policy. Am I reading correctly?
What was changed primarily, Bob, was the formatting of the spread sheet of the retention. The language within the policy, there was, let me scroll back up. We struck out the center paragraph and then just made some more grammatical changes more than anything. But the table that's on this policy, the way it was laid out, was just hard to read. And so Sierra went through it and cleaned it up and made it more presentable and easier to read.
It has all the same information in it. It just has it actually organized instead of.
This is probably the one Ramona was having trouble with.
That's
I
probably
would
right.
guess.
Oh yeah, I see the blue. Yeah, it's nice.
Because I had trouble with it too.
Yeah, that one and 8320, I didn't understand the reason for, once again, the superintendent, and I understand the superintendent makes the recommendation with the board approval, then the school is shut down. So that was my other thing, and I haven't had time to go look at some of the statute, but I did look at some of it in response to that, and it does still stay within the board's ability. I understand the superintendent obviously is here, and he would be deciding if it's an emergency, it's emergency, but I need to look at the wording a little bit more. I just don't wanna put the board in a position where we were a few years ago, and it sure feels like we're going that way.
Well, you know you're gonna get a lot of pressure on that last part.
Yeah, I know.
Be prepared.
Yes, sir. I'm ready.
The question always comes, it's too bad that you have to close school. Why is it okay that they can show up for practice?
Yep.
It all depends on
Those are the
the
fun
road
parts.
conditions.
Yeah, I was gonna say, sometimes
Yeah,
you
clear it
call
up.
it because you think it's gonna be terrible, and then it's not, and it's like, well, kids could go to practice.
And it's optional too. We've
Right,
always,
you're not-
we've always
Yeah,
ran
it's always
optional.
been
And it was the same way where I came from.
Right.
It's it really is a discretion of the coach and
And the
the safety of
parents.
the
Yeah.
parents, right? So.
But you have to make that determination, whether it's safe or not,
Yep.
not the coach.
Yes, sir.
So policy 8320, there were, yeah, we didn't have the original policy attached, and there were changes.
Yeah.
I believe, is this the one that didn't exist?
No, it's on there.
No, it existed.
I do believe it was just a revision.
Was it just revision?
Yeah, it was adopted in 2008.
Yeah.
And the one that's on the website now is not verbatim, but it is mimicking what the statute actually says. That's the one I got stuck on because I couldn't figure out where the other policy was, or if there wasn't one, and then I found it on the website. I'm like, oh, we did have it. Okay, so then I started looking at it, but I didn't. And then I got off on one of the other policies and didn't come back to it. I figured they were first read, so I could
Yeah, they are first
look at
reads.
it again. But yeah, it's on the website.
It might be helpful for the public when they're looking at these in our agenda to see, can we label them as this is policy as it stands? Because it doesn't
Current
say that.
policy, drafted
Yeah,
changes,
yeah.
and
Um,
cleaned version of drafted changes.
Yes, something like that
Yeah.
that says which copy is which. Like we know because we've been doing it for a long time, but we're gonna have at least one new
Trustee.
board member. So I think it would be helpful to have those documents labeled in some way.
Good idea.
Thanks.
Yeah, there was there's actually a color coding on the system that we created.
Yeah.
It does
Right.
just that because when we send it to people for comment, it's the same thing. They don't know like what changed.
What is this?
was it.
Yeah, what's- yeah.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, so that way you can, because you can pretty much answer your own questions if you have all three of them there, you know?
Mm.
So is there any more discussion we'd like to have on the policies that are presented for first read?
No.
When will these come up for a vote?
It would be the next board meeting.
Next regular board meeting? October?
Yeah.
15th, the 15th.
More homework.
The change of the chart, it looks like it was, a table, inserted into the document. Was there a reason that we changed it in the layout? Is the other one looked like it fit better than this new one with the blue on it? I mean, I like sort of the highlight thing, but, or is it that just needs to be reformatted or something? The other one seemed a little bit easier on the eyes to flow.
We can change the color if that helps.
But was there a reason that we changed it from the old one?
From this?
Yeah. I think that's the one that's on the site. Is that the one that's on the
Yeah,
site?
that's the one that's on the site. We changed it because there's things that aren't in any sort of format that makes sense. And so if you look at the difference between that one versus the cleaned up one has it based in categories.
Right, but I mean the format, not the information, the actual format of the table of that one is cleaner than the other one, and it's the whole width of the page, and it's not, the other one just seemed like it shrunk it down, and
I can stretch it out to fit the page.
yeah, or go back to that. I mean, I don't know why we went to the colored thing. Do you have access to that? If you don't have access to that document, is that why you did a new one?
No, I do.
Oh.
So I made the table because it was easier to pull information
okay.
and start putting it where it goes that way. But yeah, I can put it in a similar format.
Yeah, the other table was alphabetized only. And the new table is categorized. And it then alphabetized. Okay. Oh no, it's not. Okay.
Is this, okay, I have to look. We had one that was sent when I questioned, I can look later, I guess, I don't wanna hold everybody on it. When I questioned the destruction of the, special ed records,
Oh,
I think
right.
they sent me, somebody sent it to me, I'll have to go back and look.
Kelsey did.
Oh, was Kelsey here? You were here then when I sent that request? I can't
Yeah,
remember when that was.
she sent you an email explaining the whole.
Yeah, no, but I mean, there was this table, cause I just looked, I didn't see it on the website, but it might be out there under something else. Or maybe Brooks sent me the email, Southern, yeah, I don't know. I don't have any more input on it.
Sorry, are we able to move off of the discussion items?
I have nothing more.
Nothing more? Okay. On that note, we will move into our dates to remember. We have Policy Committee on October 6th, the IBB Superintendent Workshop on October 8th, Policy Committee on the 13th, and our regular board meeting on the 15th. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to enter into executive session pursuant to Idaho Code 742061 F and B.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We need a roll call vote.
Trustee Johnson. Trustee Vig.
Yes.
Chair Thompson.
Yes.
Trustee Quimby.
Yes.
Vice Chair Grissom.
Yes.
Okay. On that note, we'll take a 5-minute recess and reconvene at, okay, we'll make it 6 at 7:30 for executive session.